What's good, everybody? It's BBKDRAGOON here, excited to share with you today some new mental tips that'll help you improve at any FPS, but also within just your day-to-day life, and that is the idea of the beginner's mindset. I'm going to quote here from the book Made to Stick by authors Chip and Dan Heath. Once we know something, we find it hard to imagine what it was like not to know it. Our knowledge has cursed us, and it becomes difficult for us to share our knowledge with others because we can't readily recreate our listener's state of mind. What that really is talking about is when we are learning something new, we have a mindset about us, the beginner's mindset in which we're a sponge. We're open to new ideas. We see things not with a jaded or a veteran's viewpoint, but rather a beginner, a newcomer, somebody who is fresh and trying to take in as much as possible. But as we get used to things, as we get better at activities, it becomes routine. It becomes regular. We develop habits. Routines and habits make us efficient, but this also can get us caught in mental ruts. So I'll give you the example in a game. When you first try a new game, it is all about learning the new weapons, the mechanics, the maps, the abilities. It's a constant learning procedure, one in which you're regularly looking for any bit of data that your brain can use to transfer into potential power or potential opportunity as you as a player to improve. Now, fast forward 7-8 months, you've played that game a lot, you understand virtually all the weapons, you think you know all the maps, the mechanics, the abilities, and you've got it figured out. And you essentially develop assumptions about the game and preconceptions. These preconceptions and assumptions slow down our progress, and this happens in every facet of our lives, be it gaming, be it your workplace, be it a hobby or a sport. Anytime we reach a level of proficiency at an activity, we develop assumptions about what should happen. I'll give you a case in point. In Destiny, I know for the most part what guns should kill and at what speed and how fast a sunbreaker can move across the map and all of these things that we've experienced 1,000 times over. What this can lead to, however, is never recognizing our mistakes or looking for opportunities to improve because we are so set in our assumptions and our preconceptions that we can't even see past our nose in front of our face. When we develop any sort of ego in a game, feeling like, yeah, I've achieved something, I'm really good at this, I don't deserve to lose to a player of less caliber, you immediately destroy any chances of improvement that you could have had. Think about a movie when there's a mad scientist who straps the patient in the chair and then erases their mind. That's the attitude that we need to be constantly approaching whenever we're practicing, let's say, Destiny or Halo or Titanfall, Overwatch, whatever game it is for you. You need to remove those assumptions and preconceptions. Yes, you need to have an understanding of how the game works. And yes, you need to use the knowledge that you've accumulated through many hours of practice and synthesize it into gameplay, strong gameplay. But it shouldn't get to the point where you become so jaded or so dead set in your playstyle and habits that you cannot even recognize the mistakes that are being made within your face. Like right there, right on the screen. And that happens to all of us. This is where mental plateaus in your skill happens. This is the main catalyst for it. It generally isn't lack of practice. It isn't lack of game knowledge. It's a lack of willingness to learn. I can tell you 1,000 times over in Halo where I have reached a skill level, like Halo 4, I hit CSR 50 before and after the reset. But even though you hit 50, there's still so much more to go, so much more to improve at. Yet for whatever reason, once you hit 50, you get complacent. And you start believing, well, I shouldn't have lost to those guys. That was just a fluke. Man, I don't deserve to lose to those level 46 dudes, yeah, whatever. Like, you just start writing your losses off instead of looking at the gameplay and going, wow, maybe I should not use that particular weapon in this situation. Maybe that was bad positioning. Maybe I could have improved here or there. Never be above losing or learning. You want to begin like you were just learning for the first time. When you learn a new game, you are a sponge that absorbs everything. You want that attitude. You want to have that in your practice. And I know right now Destiny is pretty much like a meh, who really cares about Destiny PvP, but Destiny 2 is very close around the corner. We've got the beta coming up in just a little over 10 days. So you're going to want to be that sponge. You're going to want to be that sponge in the beta and at release and as often as possible. Don't become jaded. Don't become set in your routines and habits to the point where you get locked into a mental rut. Break through, and you will conquer. Just some musings about the beginner's mindset. There are actually a lot of books written with this similar concept in mind. So if you want to learn a little bit more about it, I just suggest Googling the beginner's mindset. Some awesome articles as well. What do you guys think about this idea? I mean, purely it's a balance, right? You can't ditch all the knowledge that you've learned. I'm not telling you to do that. But you shouldn't become so dead set or so ego propped up in your head to where you are unwilling to learn. And it happens to all of us at some degree. How do you fix it? Well, you recognize it and you make an active choice. I'm going to sit down and relearn and trying to take in things that I wouldn't normally look for. Just because I've played 600 gajillion hours in this game does not mean I'm incapable of learning more. Alright, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know with a like. Have an excellent rest of your day, and we'll talk with you next time.